The world is a strange and unsettling place. We like to believe in the good in humanity, in the safety of our homes, in the idea that monsters are merely figments of our imaginations. But the truth, as always, is far more unsettling. The truth is, monsters do exist, hiding in plain sight, lurking in the shadows, sometimes even closer than we could ever imagine. This is the story of one such monster. A story that sends shivers down the spine, a stark reminder that evil can wear a human face. This is the story of Daniel LaPlante, the boy who lived within the walls, and the terror he inflicted on an unsuspecting family. This is not a story for the faint of heart. It is a descent into the darkest corners of the human psyche, a chilling reminder that the line between reality and nightmare can be terrifyingly thin. Proceed with caution. The Andrews family lived a life that could be described as ordinary, even idyllic. They resided in a cozy two-story home in Townsend, Massachusetts. Their days were filled with the comforting routines of family life, school runs, shared meals, and evenings spent together in the warm glow of the television. Priscilla Andrews, the matriarch, was a loving mother of 3. Her husband was away often for work, leaving her to manage their household and care for their children. The eldest, Annie, was a bright and responsible teenager on the cusp of adulthood. Her younger siblings, Jessica and Danny, brought joy and laughter to their home with their childish antics. Life for the Andrews family was simple, their world painted in shades of normalcy. Little did they know a storm was brewing on the horizon, a storm that would shatter their peaceful existence and reveal the fragility of their reality. The first sign that something was amiss came in the form of strange phone calls. They started out of nowhere, disrupting the quiet of her evenings. Annie began receiving calls from an unknown number, the voice on the other end a hushed whisper, barely audible above the static. It was as if the caller was hiding in the shadows, speaking from a place of darkness. At first she dismissed them as pranks, the irritating but harmless antics of bored teenagers. She would roll her eyes and hang up, thinking it was just a phase that would pass. But the calls persisted, becoming more frequent, more insistent. Each ring of the phone sent a shiver down her spine, the sense of unease growing with every unanswered call. The voice, when it did speak, was chillingly calm, devoid of emotion. It was as if the caller was a ghost, haunting her through the phone line. It would ask strange questions about her daily routine, her whereabouts, the layout of their house. The questions were invasive, probing into the intimate details of her life. Annie would hang up, heart pounding, a knot of unease tightening in her stomach. She felt violated, as if her privacy had been shattered by an unseen intruder. She told her mother about the calls, but Priscilla, ever the pragmatist, dismissed them as the work of a prankster. "It's just kids playing games," she would say, waving off Annie's concerns. Yet Annie couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The calls were too persistent, too calculated to be mere pranks. The calls were like an itch she couldn't scratch, a constant reminder that someone was watching, waiting. It was as if the phone had become a conduit for her fears. She began to feel a constant sense of dread, a feeling that something sinister was lurking just beyond her perception. The once familiar comfort of her home now felt like a cage with unseen eyes watching her every move. Section 4, a chilling encounter, face-to-face with evil. The phone calls were just the beginning. They were eerie, unsettling, and always at odd hours, leaving Annie feeling more and more uneasy with each ring. One afternoon, while home alone, Annie experienced a terrifying encounter that sent chills down her spine. It was a day like any other, but the atmosphere felt different, heavier. She was upstairs in her room when she heard a noise downstairs, a soft thud as if something had fallen. The sound was faint but unmistakable, breaking the silence of the empty house. Cautiously, she made her way down the stairs, her senses on high alert. Each creak of the wooden steps seemed to echo louder than usual, amplifying her fear. Each step she took was filled with dread, her heart pounding against her ribs like a captive bird. She gripped the stair railing tightly, her knuckles turning white. As she rounded the corner into the living room, she came face to face with a sight that made her blood run cold. The room, usually a place of comfort, now felt alien and threatening. Standing in the middle of the room, dressed in what appeared to be her father's clothes, was a teenage boy she'd never seen before. His presence was both surreal and menacing. His face was expressionless, his eyes cold and calculating. They seemed to pierce through her, as if he could see into her very soul. Annie froze, her mind struggling to process the impossible. Her thoughts raced, but her body remained paralyzed with fear. Who was this boy, and how had he gotten into her house? The questions swirled in her mind, but answers seemed elusive. Before she could react, the boy turned and fled, disappearing through the back door as quickly as he had appeared. The encounter left her shaken, the sense of intrusion lingering long after he was gone. Section 5. Unsettling events, whispers and shadows. Following the break-in, the Andrews family took precautions. They installed new locks, alerted the police, and vowed to be more careful. They thought these measures would bring them peace of mind, a sense of security. But the strange occurrences continued, defying their efforts to restore normalcy. These events escalated in both frequency and intensity, leaving the family in a constant state of unease. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, faint and indistinct, yet undeniably present. It was as if the house itself was trying to communicate. Shadows moved in the periphery of their vision, vanishing when confronted. These fleeting glimpses added to their growing paranoia. The house seemed to hold its breath, its silence pregnant with unseen menace. Every creak and groan of the old structure felt like a sinister whisper. Objects would go missing, only to reappear in strange places. It was as if someone or something was toying with them. Food would spoil prematurely, as if left out overnight. The refrigerator, once a reliable appliance, now seemed to be part of the conspiracy. The family dog, once a playful and energetic companion, became skittish and withdrawn, whimpering at unseen presences. Its behavior was a stark contrast to its usual self. The once comforting familiarity of their home had been replaced by an oppressive sense of dread, a feeling that they were no longer alone. The atmosphere in the house grew heavier with each passing day. The family huddled together, seeking solace in each other's presence. Fear became a constant companion, a shadow that followed them from room to room. It was as if the very walls were closing in on them. They found themselves looking over their shoulders, expecting to see something lurking in the shadows. The fear was palpable, almost tangible, a whisper that chilled them to the bone, a constant reminder of their unseen tormentor. The whispers grew louder, more insistent. They were prisoners in their own home, haunted by an unseen entity that seemed to delight in their terror. The once safe haven had turned into a house of horrors. The family felt trapped, unable to escape the malevolent presence that had taken over their lives. Their home, once filled with laughter and joy, was now a place of fear and anxiety. Haunted by an unseen entity that seemed to delight in their terror, the Andrews family could only hope for a way to reclaim their home and their peace of mind.